Hello, zombie lovers. Ruben here from the Ruby Tuesday. Today we're venturing back into the post-apocalyptic nightmare of Danny Boyle's 28 Years Later. Yes, 28 years later, the third film in the Rage virus saga, nearly 20 years after 28 weeks later, and 23 years after the original that changed zombie horror forever. The big question is, after all this time, is it just nostalgia, or does it truly deliver? So this is not just a review of 28 Years Later, rather it's 10 reasons why you should watch 28 Years Later, and a review. Number 1. Franchise and creative team return. First off, writer Alex Garland and director Danny Boyle are both back, the duo who gave us 28 Days Later in 2002, but they did not give us 28 Weeks Later in 2007, and it showed. I just rewatched 28 Weeks Later, and while it was fun to see how far some of the actors involved have come, that film has some issues. So getting the original creative minds back was a huge deal for this film, and it is all the better for it. That's a 23-year gap since the first film and 18 years since the second. Feels like a reunion tour, a legacy sequel, but unlike cash grab nostalgias that kind of plague our cinemas at the moment, Boyle and Garland bring fresh ideas, anchoring it in real lived experience. Everything feels tangible. The sets, costumes, physical locations all feel just a little too real, a little close to home, which really helps to add tension and atmosphere. Number 2, the plot and setup. So the story, after 28 years of quarantine, surviving Britons have resorted to medieval-style communities on islands, like Holly Island, connected by breachable causeway. Our focal family are played by Aaron Taylor-Johnson as Jamie, his 12-year-old son, Spike, played by Alfie Williams, and Jodie Comer as Ilsa, who is ill and frail. She is the catalyst for a lot of the drama. One of my favorite cinematic moments, Spike's rite of passage, hunting trip. Armed with only a bow and arrow, it's such a raw, Spartan vibe. It sets the tone to survival is gritty again. It's not polished, but it's very real and authentic. Well, as authentic as you can get while mimicking a quarantine zombie rage apocalypse. 3. Cinematography and the visual style. The cinematographer Anthony Dodd Mantle returns, tossing in his trademark digital grit, but now mixed with modern tools. We even get a iPhone 15 Pro Max footage here, adding texture to the chaos. Wasn't completely sold on the stop-start shots of some of the violence when the film mixes in some shots of things that happened in history and then flashes back to the current story. I felt like it was a bit forced. I'm still not sure about some of the editing choices here as well. It's such a tight balance to be creative and to know when to put a thing down. Stop editing and get it out there. The beginning of this movie felt a little bit too stylized and forced for me. We get a new evolution of that sort of bullet time blood splatter that we had in the first. And while it's fun, it shouts, "Look at me" in places. However, the filming locations are a cinematographer's dream. The Scottish Highlands, Northumberland wetlands, all of these are cinematic beauties, juxtaposed with horror in the film, which makes this movie one of the best looking horror films in recent years. So 4, score and soundtrack. We have a score by Young Fathers. It's moody, propulsive, sometimes punky. It brings emotion to bleak visuals. I found that a few scenes were carried by the score because the score is a character as well here, which makes sense because in the original the score was integral to its tone. There are even surprising song bleed-ins and experimental score decision that caught me off guard in a good way, I think. 5. Effects, infected, and gore, the zombie prosthetics. The infected aren't your corridor-chasing Romero zombies. They're rage-infected. You know how they spread their virus in the first one? They've continued that, kind of chucking everything up. We've got mutated types, crawling fatties who feast on worms, and alphas that literally rip skulls like spinal cord popcorn. And yes, there are zombie genitals. Yep. They go there. It's brutally graphic, it's visceral, unfiltered horror. But every glob of gore has a purpose. It shocks, yes, but also raises the stakes. Death isn't off-screen, it's savage and immediate. There's a close-up of a fattie's back. It ripples and moves. It's just made me gag a little bit in the movie. It was just gross, and my body reacted in a way to seeing this for some reason. if you're squeamish, this movie is not going to be one for you. 6 is cast and character work. Alfie Williams as Spike is a standout. He is the emotional center of the film, and I think he has the most screen time in this movie. He's believable as a teen searching for his place as a man, and what that means in this world, as in this apocalyptic world, as well as being a son and his duty to his mother. Alfie stands out in most scenes that he is in, well, until he gets on screen with Ralph Fiennes, but still he's excellent, and Ralph Fiennes is Ralph Fiennes. Aaron Taylor-Johnson plays Jamie, a hunter that is respected by most of his little community. He plays a father as well, and a husband to a wife that's not well. I liked him in this. I just wish we had more of him in it. My second favorite scene in the whole movie is with him and his son on the hunt. Then we have Jodie Comer as Ilsa. She's haunting and vulnerable. Her illness is a ticking clock. Here her character helps to add tension. I honestly didn't even recognize her at first. I do love the way Jodie can just morph into characters. She's sick, confused, a mother and a wife, and we get all of that from her in this. Then Ralph Fiennes as Dr. Ian Coulson enters. Eccentric, odd, and disturbing. He eats up every scene he is in this film. I mean, mostly he does that in every film he is in. Mostly. From Voldemort to Dr. Bones. He is a phenomenal actor, and once again, he proves why he is a phenomenal actor. I loved his performance in this. 7 is themes. Who's the real monster? One of the strongest questions, who is the real monster? Is it the virus? Is it the infected? Or is it us, the survivors? On Holly Island, life is medieval. On the mainland, we meet cultists and survivalists, sort of, and they can often be worse than infected. Death is everywhere, brutal, but also sacred. The film forces us to look at how families, religion, and society adapt when mortality is ever present. It's a film about survival more than a traditional apocalyptic escape. 8. The morality clause. 28 Days Later was pure, raw panic. 28 Weeks was a Hollywood sequel expansion of that. 28 Years Later, it's a hybrid. Emotional family drama with philosophical horror. It's slower, more reflective, but when it agrees to punch, it punches hard. The emotional arc, especially with Spike and Ilsa, stays with you, but the themes will stay with you well after the credits roll as well. The morality clause is who's right is right. In war, each side thinks they are the good guys. But what happens when we see humans turn into monsters and then we become the monsters to combat those monsters? Who is the real monster? How many times can I say monster? Okay, maybe I'm getting a little bit too sidetracked here, a little bit too deep. After all, sometimes a horse is just a horse. But this movie gets the viewer to think without ever being preachy. 9. Pacing, strengths and weaknesses. I think this is where the film will lose some people, and I have to admit at the beginning of this movie I was very worried about its trajectory. As previously mentioned, some of the editing choices with implemented footage come across as forced, incoherent babble in places, but I did eventually get why those scenes were included. I'm just not sure that they were needed or actually added any value to the movie. It's like they created some scenes to make it for the trailer and then force it into the movie because they had the footage already. For me, the blend mostly works. It rises tension in places and gives you a breather for the character beats before sucker punching you once again. It's a long film at 115 minutes, but it is the full package. 10. Emotional impact and reflection. This isn't just about gore and monsters, it's a meditation on civilization's collapse, grief, what we choose to protect. Remember the death of the dad in 28 Weeks? Here, death is familiar, part of everyday life. The film asks, how do we live when death is immediate? And who do we become? So my verdict is this: should you watch it? Bottom line is 28 Years Later is ambitious, brutal, and emotionally resonant. It's not a mindless gore fest, but when it hits, it lands. Does it match the original's shock? Maybe not, but it forges its own path. This is a legacy sequel done right. If you're into slow-burning apocalypses with violent crescendos and real heart, this movie is probably going to be for you. I give 28 Years Later,
I guess I was pretty horny,
pages out of 5. I wasn't expecting nostalgia. I left thinking about grief, resilience, and how fragile society really is. So yes, 28 Days Later is worth your time. I recommend it, in fact, just with a couple of caveats. Okay, what did you think of 28 Years Later? Were the infected scarier than the humans? Drop your spoiler-free thoughts down below, and if you enjoyed this review, like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more from me at the Ruby Tuesday. Until next time, be kind to each other, stay weird, and remember, live long and Tuesday.